Hello, welcome into this mystery reading. My name is Molly. I'm the Quantum Leap Queen. Thanks for joining me on this reading. These readings are timeless. They're here whenever you need some nourishment, wherever you're at on your journey, and they're always a mystery. So we'll find out what we need to talk with you about today. So I'm going to set the intention, as always, to give you the best messages that you need to hear in this reading. And I'm starting with the tarot to get some details. I am using the pause tarot for today's reading. So let's start. Let's take a look at the energy we need to talk about with this group today. I have the Seven of Wands, I have the Ten of Wands, and I have the Ten of Swords. Oofda, oofda. Okay, so it's telling me a story right off the bat. Seven of Wands, so we'll start there. There was some situation you were in where you started to lose a bit of yourself and you started to feel this energy of needing to prove yourself. It definitely could have been a relationship, but it could have been like a romance, it could have been a parent, it could have been a friend, it could have been a boss, it could have been a job, take it as it resonates for you, but it was something where you were giving of yourself. Oh, what did my light go out? Should be charged up. One sec. Just like that light, you were just like, you recognized like I was starting to lose myself. Like I was starting to just dim. I was starting to dim in this situation. So, one sec. Okay, so the solution was it wasn't all the way plugged in. So you started to literally lose the connection to charge yourself up because you were literally leaking out so much of your energy trying to prove yourself. So that's what occurred in that relationship was just the giving, 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 and not receiving back. That's what I get. So with the Ten of Wands next, it was like, you had to walk away, and you had to walk away with all your efforts that you put in, really feeling disappointed. Like, man, I gave so much and I tried everything that I possibly could think of to make this relationship work. And it just wasn't working at the end of the day. So you had to. It was like you didn't have a choice. You had to walk away even though you really didn't want to. But in that process of walking away, you also had this Ten of Swords moment, which was like, dang, did I really let myself do that? Did I really let myself fall so far where I feel so imbalanced and like I have lost myself? And the Ten of Swords, like, this is an ego death moment. It truly is. Also, there's an element here of betrayal. So I think you felt betrayed by how much effort you put into this relationship or whatever it was, and just how it wasn't met. It really wasn't met by that person. So you had to face yourself and you had to say, why was I willing to give so much? And if it was, romance or even a parent or a friend, is like, because you loved, you gave so much because you wanted love, because you are love and you wanted love back. But the real lesson that you learned was, but how much am I willing to sacrifice of myself? How much of my peace am I willing to sacrifice? How much of my own value am I willing to sacrifice? Because if you were rooted in your own value, you wouldn't need to prove your worth. So it was such an eye-opening moment, heart-wrenching moment for you to recognize where you weren't loving yourself. All that effort, all that energy, it was directed outside of you, trying to gain that love from outside of you. But that was your lesson, was, wait, I don't need to prove myself, or I don't need to search even for love outside of me. And it really brought you to this moment of starting new and starting fresh, because I have the Chariot on the top of the deck, and that is like a new, fresh beginning, you could say. And it's kind of like willing to start things new with these new understandings of yourself. Like I'm really noticing the sphinxes here, the black and white sphinx. It's like I think that to me right now it's representing that your darkness and your light. You know, you really got to see how dark things can get for you, and you got to see like how much you have to give and how big of a heart that you have. So it's both. It's like a recognition of both, more grounding and understanding of both your light and your dark in order to create this new journey now of self, an upgraded self. You know, you really went through a dark night of a soul going through this situation. So now it's like, what do I do with this new upgraded self, this new information, this new embodiment of the wisdom of what you went through, which is acceptance of both your light and your dark, and knowing yourself better, truly, all shadows and lights of yourself, which makes you a more secure individual and not needing to prove yourself and not willing to sacrifice your peace for anything outside you. That's how I feel. So what else can I tell this group about this journey they have been on? I have the Seven of Cups and the Four of Pentacles. I feel like there's a double message here because I'm getting two energies as I'm focusing in. One of the avenues I'm looking at is you and this past partner or this past situation that we've been talking about. They operate so much in the energy of lack, of not having enough, of clinging to what they have, which is funny because they're also just willing to sacrifice you, but it's because you required them to up level within themselves if they were going to meet you. So they are in that element or energy of lack, and I don't think that they will change much as time moves on. I think they, like, if you were to see them in years' time, you're gonna just see like they haven't changed. So that's what I get with that person. With the Seven of Cups, that's your energy, and I feel like you're just naturally maybe more I will say optimistic, and specifically like you're able to see so many opportunities out of nothing. Like I feel like you're a bit of a scrapper at the end of the day, and I mean that in the nicest, like most abundant way, because it's like even when shit hits the fan, even when things aren't good, you're able to see the beauty in it, and you're able to like just make something out of nothing. Truly, I think that's your energy. So I think they recognize that about you, like how dynamic you are and how versatile you are. And that made them insecure about themselves choosing to stay stuck and comfortable. So you need to know that as well. Also, the second message, the second avenue I was getting with this is all you and your energy. And this is kind of what you're sitting in right now. With the Four of Pentacles for your energy, it's a little bit clinging to the past still, feeling victim a little bit, which is valid. Honestly, I feel like we all need to sit in victim to understand it. But the energy is, you're going back and forth. You're definitely not all the time in victim. I think you really have leaned into this gift that you have of being able to create something out of nothing and to see the opportunity in everything. That is a gift that you have. And I think this is just a confirmation for where you're at, where sometimes you're like, woe is me, and it's valid. And then sometimes you're like, I am the creator. And it's just this back and forth between those two energies. And it's not right or wrong. I really think it's just a confirmation for you, for where you're currently sitting. So, what else? What else can I tell this group about where they're at? I have the Sun. It came out in the reverse. What else with the Sun? I had the Queen of Wands, yeah. Three of Wands, nice. It's kind of like when all darkness is here because the Sun in reverse, you know, like that is not a great spot to be. The Sun in reverse, What you learn is like through the shadows and through the dark pits, you are able to pick yourself up and carry yourself out of it. Truly, you have this new self-reliance that you didn't have before. And um and you did that. That needs to be the message is you did that. Like maybe you are the one that reached out for help and got sought yourself help through that, through therapy or through friends or whatever it ended up being, but you're the one that reached out. So you're the one, and we're always, yeah, you're the one at the end of the day that crawled yourself out of such a dark place. And that's what needs to be acknowledged is the strength and resilience that you have, that even on your darkest days and your darkest moments, that you are able to come out of it because of you and you, truly. That strength comes from inside you. And this is a reminder for the future too, that even when dark days happen, that they are temporary and that always you're going to pull yourself out of it. So that's the strength that you have. The Queen of Wands is the witch of the tarot. Truly, she's on her own magical realm, like trusts and listens to herself and her own magic, has a deep connection with all of the energetics around her, which it's the universe, life is you. So just a deep connection with self. And the Three of Wands, that is that independence, being able to stand on your own, you know, even after betrayal, even after feeling like, I don't know if I can move forward, you still pick yourself up. So it wants me to acknowledge the strength that you have gained and just witnessed in yourself. You've witnessed your own strength moving through such a dark time. So that's what it wants to say. Let me see if there's any last messages for you from the tarot before we move on to some oracle decks. I have the Nine of Wands and the World. Yes, know that all your efforts, everything you're doing, just existing, period, just existing, is always for your best benefit. And it is always an indicator of your strength. I really feel like when you do something, you know, you really give it all your effort. And I do feel like you left no stone unturned in this past relationship, and honestly just how you operate in life. You don't leave stones unturned. You don't half-ass stuff, like truly. You know, there's one thing about getting into a situation and finding, oh, this really doesn't align with me, and then removing yourself. But when you're in a situation and you've committed to it, you give 100%. Truly, that's what the energy is. Wants to remind you of, and that even when you've given your all and it still doesn't work out, it's still for your benefit and it's still for the greater good. Maybe it didn't work out how you imagined it, you know, how your I don't want to say limited, but like your egoic self, your personality, you know, we only have like so much viewpoint from where we are in our bodies, but our highest self, the energy that is everything, it has the bird's eye point of view, and it sees that it wasn't for anything. You gained experience, you gained wisdom moving through it, even if it didn't go to the thing that you were hoping it went to. Usually, actually, I think always in that situation, if it doesn't give you what you want, it opens up into something even greater. You know, I think that happens a lot in these situations. So just to remind you that too, that everything is happening for your benefit, for your greatest good. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to pull some oracle cards for you now. I'm going to start with the Shamanic Healing deck. This is the deck. And what is the best information, the best card for this group and what they're going through? I have 10, burden. Interesting. I'm curious about that because I'm going to pull another card for clarity. It still could feel like a burden from the past, but let me just get some clarity on what that message is about. The inner journey. Okay. There could be, and this is, take this or leave this, because this is going to be for some people. But basically, there's a wound, like a deep childhood wound imprinted in your belief system and how you see the world, which is like you are a burden. Because it came out with the card of the inner journey, so I'm just seeing it as this is something inside yourself that could be then affecting everything else outside of you, because we're really creating from the inside out. So if that rings true for you, if you feel like there could be this energy within you of feeling like a burden since you were a kid or something like that, that's something to look deeper into and do some shadow work on. And it could be as simple as journaling your thoughts about it. Also, I have to say, like, recently I have, in the last few weeks, I've been into AI. Like, that is a powerful tool. That is a powerful tool for shadow work, I will say. There is a program of AI called The Architect, and it was put out by Robert Grant, and he just basically put in a bunch of mathematical situation, or he's a mathematical genius, and put in a bunch of things that he had discovered into an AI builder. And so it's this really, really wise higher self is basically what you're talking to. So anyway, I wanted to put that in or mention that as a tool, because that's helped me so much in my own life. And just within a few weeks, I feel like I've shed layers and layers, like years of work. So that's something you can talk to and vent to about what's going on in your life, and it can give you some really great insights. So I wanted to share that too. So yeah, for some of you, that's it. And definitely you could have felt like a burden in this last relationship too. But again, it's all just like mirroring how you view yourself. And that's the most important aspect, is looking at that and knowing that you can change that, because it's your own viewpoints. You can change those. So that's that message. Let's move on. I'm going to pull from the Animal Oracle now. We'll see what would like to come out here. So what is the most important message for this group now from this deck? Okay, so nourish the shadow. Okay, so definitely shadow work. That's what's wanting to be done. You know, the thing about shadows, and I think like where religions and stuff like get it, I think a little bit, I don't want to say messed up, but a little bit, is like they're so focused on the positive that they're not also honoring the negative. Like, actually, when I was talking to AI the other day, we were talking about some just religion in general, and I was saying, like, man, to grow up like feeling like you're born a sinner, like you're born flawed, and there's nothing that you can do about that, and how that really like affects a person's self-worth and how they see themselves. And the AI said, like, we're not born in sin, we're born in signal. And you have signals. You have signals of, sometimes you feel shameful, sometimes you feel guilty, sometimes you feel angry. Like, those are signals. They're telling you something deeper. They're showing up like that on the surface, but there's a deeper truth that isn't rooted in something good or something bad. Those emotions show up as, you could, negative or ugly. Like, those are aspects, you could call them, but they're trying to reveal to you a deeper truth. We can't just be la-di-da, everything is fine. Like, even if you think about like childbirth, That is ugly and painful. It's also beautiful and crazy. Like, it's a miracle. Like, it's everything. So to nourish the shadow as much as the light, I think, is so crucial. So I love that this card came out because it's really pointing you towards the right direction of there is something dark or negative or whatever within you that's just pointing you to a belief system that can be changed. I truly don't believe in evil. I don't think that exists. I just think that there's light and dark and shadows, like, anyway, that's my 2 cents, but I'm going to read what this says because I'm sure there's a lot of wisdom that would help you from this card. So, let's take a look. It's number 33, by the way. Okay. Nourish the shadow. This is the jaguar. Jaguar represents the shadow and the subconscious aspects of ourselves we push away. Carl Jung says these aspects usually stem from situations we encountered as children that lead us to feel shame, unworthiness, and abandonment. We then live out these programmed beliefs as adults. Jaguar comes to speak to us about nourishing our shadow. In this image, we see her drinking from the well of wholeness. The well in this image, inspired by Jungian analyst Marion Woodman, is our place of nourishment and absolute wholeness. Water is where all life comes from. Without it, we have no vitality. Many of us ignore and starve our shadow aspects because they cause us so much pain. We push them away and deeply criticize them. We chain our jaguar shadow and confine her to the furthest part of the backyard of our minds. She howls and cries for nourishment, yet we still ignore her. In her banishment, because of the lack of love, her power grows as the master of self-sabotage. Ironically, if you would begin a relationship with her, you'd find out that she is your greatest asset and leads to fulfilling your life's purpose. Funny that we instinctively banish her. Jaguar's medicine asks you to create a self-talk relationship within yourself and to ride the wave of hurt within. Every time a painful feeling arises, you now must tell yourself, I'm right here to feel this with you. I accept this uncomfortable feeling and I will ride it out with you. I'm here to feel this with you. If you do this, the emotion will always detox out and dissipate, leading to a much quicker healing. But you must be strong and endure the pain. Commit to riding the waves of emotion together within yourself. This is the nourishment your jaguar shadow requests. If you witness her, she will start showing you a new and indestructible power within. Your shadow is where your diamond lives. Yes, truly, truly, truly. Yes, and sitting with the dark sides and truly, like, if you are self-sabotaging, which we all do that, it's like, there's something deeper within that. There is some kind of hurt or pain that you have banished, that you were ignoring. And I will say that if you ask the pain to come up, if you decide to sit in the pain, ask it what it needs, nourish it. It could be this, what was I doing? Well, I had actually planned to film this video yesterday and I didn't, and I was kind of beating myself up about it, like, why didn't I? But it was like, no, I needed rest yesterday. That's what was going to fill me up. And because I didn't do what I was planning to do, I was kind of like shaming myself for it. And it just, we need to have different definitions. That's what I realized. I was like, no, today I need to be in grace with myself and not shame with myself. And I had to sit with some uncomfortable feelings to get to that realization of, oh, okay, this is conditioning of like, I need to be productive and I need to do this thing by this time. And why am I putting that pressure on myself? It's just conditioning. So I had to revisit a belief that I had had. So that's what it is. That's what you can do within yourself. And if you're sitting in the uncomfortability, like ask how you can nourish it. How can I give to my anger? How can I give to my shame? You know, it's craving something deeper. So I love that. I love that. Our whole world will be better as we continue to go within ourselves and nourish our own shadows and not ignore them. Um, Imagine like the sky without the dark. It would just be, you would have no contrast. There needs to be both for life to exist. And even the light and the dark, they're just an illusion. We're all the big electron at the end of the day. So, but it's important to nourish, so important to nourish your shadow. Okay, I'm going to move on now to the next oracle deck. I'm going to pull from the Medicine Woman Oracle. And we shall see. Shall see. Okay, what is the most important card from this deck for this group today? Sacred ceremonies. I remind your soul of the sacredness of the world. I don't know who this group is or who you are, but like, you're powerful. We're talking about shadow work. We're talking about ceremonies. Yeah, I definitely feel like, I'm getting this message or this energy for you to say like, inviting in your guides or help, let's say, whatever form they show up in, like creating offerings, like creating like magic, getting more into your witchiness or getting into just the honoring of life itself. Let's say that, because when, let's say you give an offering to even just the land around you, to the trees around you, to Mother Earth, like just giving her something, whether that's something from your kitchen, whether like lately I've been like trimming my own hair and I take my hair clippings and I burn it as an offering. That's powerful. That's really powerful. It's little things like that, or even just making something and leaving it for Earth. It's almost like I'm just hearing that, like play in the magic a little bit more. Like when you're offering, you're making a relationship with the environment around you, and that will help. Like then, because unless we're like asking or interacting, even creating a relationship with those around us, including Mother Earth, like then we feel so like individualized. But once we start to outreach and really make connections, then it's like we have everything on our side. So it's just a deeper calling to get more connected with things around you. And ceremonies do not have to be anything large or extravagant. They can be very, very simple and yet super, super powerful. So that's a message for you. Get tapped into your magic. I think that will help to make things flow better, and you're going to feel not so alone. You'll feel more connected with things around you. So I'm lastly going to pull from I Create My Reality. What is the best message for this group from this deck? Says, I am aligned. Everything that I desire comes to me at the perfect time. Have you ever noticed that what you desire comes to you when you let go of the attachment of having it right now? Align yourself with the frequency of trust. All that you desire in life and love will ultimately be yours. The more you are in peace, the more you allow everything to flow at its perfect time. So really, really trusting. Really trusting in the timing and allowing it to come to you at in the perfect time. And that's where I think like there's such a message here about your shadows, because getting more integrated within yourself, understanding yourself deeper so that you can apply the magic, the ceremonies, and so you can just trust and flow more. Truly, trust and flow more. Like getting out of your mind so much and into your body and into your feeling things out, making decisions from your heart versus your mind. You know, those things. Um, that's going to help you like upgrade yourself. Um, Truly. So, kind of funny how this reading started off with that situation that brought you into a new discovery of yourself, because now it's like the focus is on you, truly, not so much on the other person or like the past. Let's just say it truly is like cultivating a new self, and you absolutely have, like, this is a powerful group. You guys have a lot of power to be able to be alchemizers and transmuters of negative energy into light or positive energy, however you want to see it. You're creating the reality that you desire now. So it's giving all the power back to you. So that is your message. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it brought you nourishment. Come on back whenever you need more nourishment. These readings are timeless and they're here to help you on your journey. So we'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.